Okay. I would like to call to order the Village of Lansing Planning Board meeting for July 8th, 2024 to order at 7:01 PM. Whole minute early, well,
If you wait 3 seconds.
sorry, 7:01 PM.
My computer
first
says
item-
7:02, I'll just say.
It was 7:01 when I said it. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Oh, I guess a couple things first. Lisa, we do have a quorum in person. Lisa and Jim are online. Lisa, you are a voting member tonight, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, Jim, are you a voting member tonight?
Yes,
Okay,
I mentioned, I left a message earlier saying I might be late, but obviously I'm
I got it, and then you showed up, so there you go, perfect.
great.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
So first item on the agenda is approval of minutes. We don't have any minutes right now. I know Mike's been out and trying to catch up on stuff in between his vacation and other family events. So I think he'd sent an email, though, that he'll be caught up at the next meeting. I thought.
Yeah, we have 3 weeks to the next meeting, so we'll
So
get them done.
we'll have those there. Next item on the agenda is the public comment period. Opportunity for anybody who is from the public to bring anything up that's not already on the agenda for this evening.
Susan Ainsley, covering for the Board of Trustees.
Hey, Susan.
Hi, everyone.
hello.
And I'm Carla Marceau. I'm here as an observer for the community party.
Carla? Okay, hearing no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment period. Motion by Pat,
Second?
second by Lorraine, all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Oh, Ben Marshall's in there too. Okay, next item on the agenda is to continue the public hearing for special permit number 2024-4767. Baldwin Capital Group is proposing to convert the existing Dick's Alta DSW and Best Buy space into a Class A fully climate-controlled self-service storage facility managed by CubeSmart. I think everyone's kind of up to speed on at least the general topics. We've discussed them at the past couple meetings. I know that we had requested some additional information at the last meeting. We did do the seeker at the last meeting, so in the EAF, so those parts of it are done. But I think there was some more information that the board wanted, and there were some topics to discuss.
So in the last meeting, Brent had mentioned the redevelopment standards, and we were, in the email today from Michael Scott, we got a letter dated July 3rd from Saratoga Associates, which I'll defer to Brent as to if he's satisfied with those findings. Also attached was a little bit more of a site plan with the contractor bays, as we've been calling them. I had made a comment to Mike Scott at some point today that I still had concerns about the ring road, since it looked like the southern fourth bay was impeding on that, and I believe there was a revised rendering, which was only sent to Mike Scott, Mike Baker and I, which we can bring up, that has the ring road put in to show that it does not impede on it, as well as some renderings were sent, so Mike Baker will share his screen.
As much as we can.
So everyone can see that, but Brent, did you get a chance to look at the letter that was sent?
Yes, I did. I had a conversation with Ron Mogren, who from Saratoga Associates, and I was explaining that I felt like there was some more evaluation needed to either verify. The statement in their report is that this meets the standards, and I'm not going to say that it doesn't, but I was looking for an evaluation. There's, in the redevelopment standards, there's 5, for lack of a better word, case scenarios, and I was looking for them to evaluate their project on those criteria for those 5 scenarios. And so Ron was very willing to, work with us on that. And I said that in the event that everything is satisfactory in terms of its the redevelopment goes, that if there was no new work that needed to be done, that the village oftentimes asks for, in fact, almost always asks for some type of stormwater improvement, because in this case, I can't remember off the top of my head what year it is that the addition for Dick's and Best Buy was built, but I'm pretty sure that the green standards weren't in effect at the time. And so I'm asking for Saratoga to take a look at, we always ask for the applicant to select a couple of the green design standards to try to incorporate into the project, assuming that they can. We don't ask them to do something that's onerous, but if there's something reasonable that they can do, we ask them to do it. And he understood, and he's going to take a look at the site plan for possibly installing, where in some of the places where they're going to pull out some asphalt and put in the tree islands, possibly do some bioretention type features, meaning rain gardens and that type of thing, just to kind of add a little bit of what we're calling quality treatment. It's not so much in effect to reduce the amount of runoff. It's just that if the runoff is there, can go through some type of a filter practice, then that means it'll just be a better overall stormwater system. So he was willing. He said that John Snyder wasn't going to, I think maybe he's on vacation, so he wasn't around to participate tonight. So I asked him if it was okay if I represented our discussion, and he said absolutely. So I'm not sure who's here for the owner, but assuming it didn't sound to me like he felt like that was going to be any hardship or burden to the project. So if I'm not sure where we're going to get tonight, but if there is an expectation or need to approve something, I would just make sure that we have a condition that that Mike Scott will get the revised stormwater report from Saratoga Associates before he issues the permits. So that's on the stormwater part. And I'd like to comment on the tightness of the curve of the road to the southernmost building. I see that there on the drawing on the screen, I think it says 29 feet.
Yeah.
A road is typically 24 feet of pavement with a little bit of shoulder on each side. So, potentially it could be, a couple feet on each side. So that's another 4 feet. So 28 or 29 feet isn't a bad amount of space, but usually on one side of it, you're not touching the structure. There's still what we would call runoff space, or, you're not trying to drive next to a building that close, or in this case,
Right.
the kind of the landscape feature at the end of the building. So it just seems like I don't know what the significance of the spacing between the buildings is. I see there's a variability from 23 feet to 24 feet to 37 feet. I would just ask if there's any way we could grab a couple feet in between and just give ourselves a little bit more room there on the outside of that building.
I think the issue with the fourth bay, and Ben is on, and I believe also a gentleman, Abe, is with him.
Yeah, I'm with Tesla.
But I think there's a gas line that runs along that fourth one, so they couldn't put it on top of the gas line. And that's why it's offset a little bit.
Yeah. So I think what we could do is shrink the planting beds there to pull that back away from the curb. But I don't think we're gonna be able to move it any more northernly, so we'll interfere with that gas line.
So my question is why not do something with the road instead of trying to shoehorn your building in? Which certainly doesn't seem like it would be a big deal to move the center line of that road a little bit.
Is there enough space south of that, Brent, to do that?
Well, over on the southwest corner of it, there definitely is. You know, the southeast corner, maybe not as, not quite as clear, but, I would like to not ignore that possibility as an option.
I just think it's way too tight. Ben,
Yep.
is there any way to do, and I know this would limit how many bays you had, but a one-sided contractor bay?
I don't think that's
Okay,
necessary, but I think we could easily just come in, take out the last bay on each one, those 4
okay,
units.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
I
were a
was gonna
little
say-
muffled when you were talking first, so I couldn't quite hear what you were trying to say, but I think that's a good
Yeah,
option
that makes
too.
sense, yeah.
All right,
so are you saying shorten it? Make it
Yeah.
shorter? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, or I was wondering why that loop road, where it says loop road, why there's so much of a curve there, but maybe it is the gas line or something.
I don't
'Cause if that would
think, sorry,
Be
I don't,
straight.
I think the loop road is something that we inherited. So
Yeah,
I don't think we
yeah,
have the
yeah.
ability.
Around the mall.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, I mean, that would be enough, but if you could take out a couple of bays, I think.
I have a question. I know that there's a big old note on here that says no fence at this time. Emphasis on at this time. But if you were to put a fence, let's just say at some time in the future, you changed your mind about that and you put a fence like right tight to the edge of the road, I guess I'm confused about how you would even access those doors.
I'm sorry, the reason we put the note in there was so there'd be no confusion about a fence. We are not asking for a fence.
Oh,
So,
Okay.
if we decide to do a fence, we're gonna come back to you and we're gonna go through this whole process all before we get to phase 2. In which case,
Great.
if you guys decide that you need us to shrink this even further to get the fence in the right spot, then that'll be the cost we have to pay for the fence in that location.
Okay.
So even without the fence, I'm not saying this, but I'm asking a question. Do you feel any concern about somebody maybe backed up to one of those doors and their vehicle is sticking out in the road?
This is not an active road. The loop road is an emergency road, just for emergency vehicles only.
It's an everyday,
Oh, yeah, no, people use it every
People go
day.
all the
Yeah.
time.
I use it almost every day.
Yeah, people come in from Trip Hammer and either go that way sometimes to get to like the movie theater at the back of the mall, or, yeah, or from the others, if they're if they're like at BJ's and they wanna go to, that end of the mall, they are regularly on that road.
Got it. We do have Casper, who's my partner on the phone, and he's Casper. Are you on here?
Yes, I am here. I'm here.
Okay. Everybody, Casper Ballman. That's how we got the last name Ballman Group. So, Casper, could you answer that question? What's the how do you want to deal with cars backing up to those bays being right on the edge of the road?
Yeah, so people park they don't back up sort of diagonally into the unit. They park alongside the units. So that's at least how they do on all our other facilities. And along with that will be signage that says that they have to park sort of what is called perpendicular to the road. As long as they do that and we eliminate the 2 last bays on each side, I don't see any issue pertaining to sort of encroaching on Loop Road.
That will be okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. Are you talking, earlier I heard eliminating 4 bays at each end, and now I just heard eliminating the last 2 bays.
I think 4 bays total, so 2 at each end, 2 at the east end, 2 at the west end.
Oh, okay, I thought it was 4 at each end.
And that gets them far enough in.
What about that
Is it-
idea of reducing the 37 feet?
There's the gas line issue.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
In
sorry.
between
Yeah,
them, yeah. I asked Natalie the same thing.
yeah, I'm
'cause that-
sorry.
yeah,
You
that
already
would
said
fix
that.
it, but-
That green dotted line is a gas line. I don't think you can see the legend.
We move gas lines all the time.
Yeah, we don't.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just, at any rate, I guess it just seems. So I have a question for Natalie. Isn't the loop road really part of the E ECCR agreement?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
should we be getting an opinion from the mall people about that?
Well, I think if they can reduce the size of the bay, so it's outside of the loop road, then I don't know that we need to include the mall people. I think as it is, it's too tight for my comfort. It's, as you said, it's right on the line. And, but I will also take a look at the CCCR about if it mentions anything regarding people parking in the lane or duties to keep the lane clear. But I definitely think it's still a little bit too close for comfort as they stand. I talked to Mike Scott about it late in the day and didn't have a chance to look it up.
4, 6, 8, 9, 12, 14.
So when you take off the last 2 bays, would you still be putting on those tree caps?
Yeah, yes. Hope so.
More.
Yeah, I think we don't have a problem putting those tree caps on at all. I think it would look nice. So yeah, we would prefer to keep
Yeah, I'm
them
just trying to
naturally.
make sure that 2 is then sufficient to
Yeah.
remove.
Could I ask a question? So each one of these there are 21 bays on each side of these buildings. Is that what I'm counting? So how many,
I
how
think it
many,
varies, as they're not all the same size, because there's one that has that utility pole.
or some are doubles or something?
I think if you look at the furthest one south, there's
Yeah,
19 bays on each
the
side.
short one, yeah.
If you look at the 3, well, the first one, I think, is 21, the second one is 20, the third one is 21, the last one is 19.
And that's on each side, so each one is 21 total or 42 total on the one side?
It would be double that number I just said, yeah, so.
Because I was gonna say, if it turns out that this most southern one, 4 bays isn't enough to get it to fit, could you add to the others and make them a little longer? Would that be another option, or is that not desirable? Because it then
I think we
encroaches
don't
on
want to
the,
impede on the driveways in between the existing
on the
parking.
parking, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. All right,
So I have a further follow-up question about gas line. I don't think that if you're concerned about gas line, which is good that you are, I don't think that being that tight to it
Yeah.
is as any good either. So I would think that you're gonna need some amount of space separation from it and let you want to move it. I mean, that
Yeah,
just
so-
seems too close.
Can you put a number to that?
Abe, you're a little muffled, I don't know if it's the.
Sorry about that. Can you put a number to how much dimension we need there between the gas line, or at least one that you feel comfortable with?
I'm assuming it's on a village line.
does NICEAG have to pass on this at all?
Part of it,
I have to look at the easement to see what space is required there. What
Yeah,
length
it's
of
a
easement
question.
is. It's a question for your title, really. What your title
You know
is.
what, guys, I think it would be perfectly okay with us for the time being, for the sake of this. If we can get to a conditional approval where we do it without this entire 4th row, we take it out for tonight's. And then when we get to phase 2, we'll bring it back to you guys. We'll reconfigure that. I mean, we have time to do that. It's not, Casper, are you okay with that? It seems to me like,
Yeah, so one of the options that we could do is choose to go with a relocatable structure, so it's individual sized storage units or contractor bays that can be moved with a forklift. Very, very simple in case someone needs to access the easement, or you know, we put this up and someone is not happy with the configuration, it's too tight, or we have issues with encroachments onto Loop Road. It's also pretty easy to move these around. So, I mean, let's take it out for the purpose of this meeting, and talk further about it once we reach phase 2, and potentially discuss the relocatable structure options.
So I think we need, I mean, I understand that you guys want to vote tonight, and I think that's really clear, but I just don't want to be scribbling things out on a site plan to approve it. I don't know if we can go to another item and one of you can go on a computer and take out that fourth bay and we can put it back up, but I want to approve a plan without having to scribble something out of it.
Abe, do you have access to that software there?
I can make that edit, yes.
So we can go on to the next item and we can come back to you guys in a little bit?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Well, let me bring up,
And then we'll add on Brent's condition. Brent, while we're still on this and they're working on their end, there is the B on the special permit, which says, prior to a building permit being issued, approval by the Village of Lansing engineer and Village Lansing stormwater officer of, but not limited to, site work, stormwater management and infrastructure plans and implementation thereof. Do you think that language is sufficient for what you were looking for?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, we've put one in there before, though. I remember on a couple, maybe you do too, Lisa, in a couple of occasions, we've put a condition in there that says, you know, choose at least one or at least two of the.
Two, I think, two, I think was the last one.
Yeah.
When you,
energy, I forget exactly what it is that they're called, Brent, energy improvement.
Green design
standards,
practices,
yeah.
green design
Design
practices.
practices.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was that one time, was that over on Dart Drive, maybe? I don't know which one, green.
Yeah.
Which one was it? Oh,
Dart.
I
Yeah.
think it was over on Dart Drive, I don't know for sure. But I was trying to think about that. Do you agree with that, Pat? I don't know.
Yeah, it was Dart Drive project.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And are you aware of those, Ben? They're like Brent mentioned, there's a whole slew of them that you can pick from. We've asked people to pick a couple. There are some that are really not that onerous at all, to be perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some of them are. Yeah.
There's a bunch of different things that we're trying to do on the side that we're going to be doing also. I'm sure it's going to be totally in line with what you guys want. So I'm not worried about it. We're good with it. Let's, anyhow, we're just not there in the design yet. We have to deal with local contractors and make sure we know exactly what the cost is for each item.
Remind me again, Ben, please, why you didn't want to do this in two separate special permits? Well, partly, probably cost, but is it because you wanted to be sure that it would happen if you're going to purchase this property? Is that correct? Otherwise, you know, it seems to me we just separate the two out while you work on the second one, but is that my recollection?
It's a great point. Yeah, when you get into all the financing of everything, the lenders who are putting money down on this need to understand generally the scope of what's accepted for us.
Yeah, well, I guess
in short, the project is not financially feasible unless we do the whole project.
I assumed that, but it was, yeah. But so you want to be sure it's pinned down for sure before.
Yes.
Okay, I was just refreshing my memory on that. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, well, while you're making that change, we can move on to the next item and we can come back and address that. And the next item on the agenda is to continue the public hearing for special permit number 2023-4699. Nushi Amati is proposing to build a house on a recently subdivided parcel from 42 SD Drive, tax parcel number 43.1-1-1.1, Planning board will review the request due to the site's location within the unique natural area. At the last meeting, we did go over the short EAF. There were some changes that we wanted made.
2 meetings ago.
Was it 2 meetings? No,
Yeah.
two meetings. Oh, that's right. Nushin couldn't make the last one. There were some changes that we wanted made. Those changes are reflected on the information and.
Yes, those have been reflected on the part 1.
Yep.
Also, we got from Michael Scott
Yes.
today, more updated plans from Gary Bush, and that this is still in the unique natural area, so that's why it necessitates the special permit. Brent, I know you've looked at these plans, and I think you had questions for TG Miller. Mike had forwarded me the email you sent them. I don't know if you got in touch with them today.
So I did try to reach out to TG Miller. My questions for them really are about how some of the property lines came to be, and really, I'm assuming that we're past that. I didn't, somehow, somewhere along the line, I missed the whole subdivision aspect of it, so I was only just trying to ascertain that information more as background to understand what it is that Gary is drawing. But there was some questions specifically for Gary. Probably the two most important were that I didn't see anywhere on Gary's drawing where he identified the limits of the conservation combining district, which I'm not 100% sure if that's specifically the unique natural area or the steep slope, or if it's the combination thereof. But Gary, it's not identified as to what is the part of the site that's we're trying to protect. There was also an observation that on the TG Miller plan, there's an old septic system, and I presumed that maybe that septic system was going to be abandoned because of the brand new sewer line that just got put through the neighborhood. And he confirmed that that was the case. There is a little bit of an open question for John Courtney, but really that's just a detail thing about whether or not they're going to pressurize the sewer line all the way to the main, or if they're going to pressurize it to a manhole that will then gravity feed into the main. And then the same comment about stormwater management. There really isn't any trigger here for a full New York State DEC SWIP NOI plan, but we have asked even in single family projects to take a look at those green design standards and see if we could incorporate a couple of green design standards in, like what we call disconnecting of roof drains is one, grass-lined swales is another, rain barrels is another. Those are almost, all of those are almost no cost type items. But there's other ones that they could take a look at. So just like we had the conversation just a few moments ago, I think that's an appropriate comment for this. So I don't know to what degree the delineation of the line is. That doesn't seem as much like a technical hazard or hurdle as one more of, for the purposes of enforcement, where is the conservation combining district on the map, so that when, say, for instance, a person like myself or Mike Scott is out there, where, we need to be able to let them develop their site. But on the other hand, we also got to say, hey, that over there, that's the part of the conservation combining district we got to stay away from.
Yeah, that isn't on here.
Yeah, and then Brent, just to go back to the subdivision, that happened a while ago in 2022, I should say. So that's probably why, I mean, this has been around for a while, so
Yeah.
that's the origin of the subdivision. I know it went to the ZBA for frontage on SD Drive, because we didn't count the East Shore as frontage, so there was a variance given there. So that's just some minor background on the minor subdivision that happened there back in '22.
Yeah.
So,
I guess the questions that you have, Brent, that you need answers to, is that anything that you, in your opinion, the board should hold off on proceeding on until those are answered? Or are those just more technical things that have to be found out, you know, and don't have a bearing on, you know, our decisions on the special permit?
So I had that conversation with Gary Bush, and he, you know, of course, isn't here tonight, and I know he hasn't had a chance to converse with the property owner yet. But I asked for his permission, or I asked for his concurrence of if I, you know, could convey the conversation. And so, you know, if the owners, I think they're maybe on, are they there at the office?
Machine is on.
Nusheen's online, yep.
You know, maybe we can get her to comment as to whether or not these topics that I'm bringing up are acceptable to her. But if it's, you know, if it is, then I think that I'm perfectly comfortable with just noting those details and moving forward with the same, you might have the exact same wording of that noting that Mike would have. So I think that we can, you know, after hearing from, you know, Nusheen, to see, just to make sure that that's okay with her, that we can keep going.
No, sure. I'm totally on board with the idea, and we've already discussed that with Gary Bush and Mike Scott, and also Scott Hicks, who's working on the site. Like, I mean, we are doing our best to make sure that like the stormwater management is considered while designing, saving as many trees as possible, saving the site, like, I mean, in its original format as much as possible. So yes, I've discussed that with Gary Bush and all, like the whole crew who's working on this site. So I'm totally on board.
Okay.
Great, I also think that B, again, on the special permit, can kind of speak to Brent's concern about where exactly the unique natural area lies, because, again, the Village of Lansing engineer has to approve the site work, so if Gary can kind of delineate on his map where that is, and then we can make sure that nothing's running into it, I think we have some coverage on that condition already.
So we do have an updated part 1 EAF in front of us. Do we have to go over the whole thing again?
No.
Okay. So that is updated. There were a couple of comments at the last one. It's all been taken into account. Did Mike mention anything about was it this special permit that we hadn't heard back from the county? No, that was the mall.
The mall, but there's
yeah.
30 days.
Yeah, it's already passed, so
yeah.
yeah, okay. So we can move on to part 2. That one we did not do. We wanted to wait until we had the updated part 1 in front of us before we did the part 2. So I can read down these, and if anybody has any comments, let me know. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No or small. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? No or small. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No or small. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No or small. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No or small. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No or small. Will the proposed action impact existing, A, public-private water supplies, no or small? B, public-private wastewater treatment utilities, no or small? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources, no or small? Will the proposed action result in adverse change to natural resources, e.g. wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna, no or small? Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems, no or small? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health, no or small? So we can do the secret, we do the secret resolution, that includes the public hearing. Okay, so everybody does have in front of them two resolutions. The first one is the Village of Lansing Planning Board Resolution for seeker review of special permit number 2023-4699, adopted on July 8, 2024. Whereas this matter involves consideration of the following proposed action, special permit number 2023-4699 for the proposal by Nushin Amadi to build a house on a recently subdivided parcel from 42 SD Drive, tax parcel number 43.1-1-1.1. Planning board will review the request to the site's location within the unique natural area. And on August 14th, 2023, June 10th, 2024, June 25th, 2024, and July 8th, 2024, Village of Lansing Planning Board, and perform the lead agency functions for its independent and uncoordinated environmental review in accordance with Article 8 of the New York State Environmental Conservation Law. The seeker, 1, determined the proposed action provided for herein is an unlisted action in accordance with seeker, thoroughly reviewed the short environmental assessment form and all other documents prepared and submitted with respect to this proposed action and its environmental review, completed its thorough analysis of the potential relevant areas of environmental concern to determine if the proposed action may have a significant adverse impact on the environment, including the criteria found in 6 NYCRR section 617(7)C, and completed the short EIF. Now therefore be it resolved, we have two options. We can find a negative declaration, we can find a positive declaration. I will entertain a motion to find this a negative declaration. Motion by Pat.
Second.
Second by Lorraine, all in favor? All right. So that is the seeker, and then I can go and, I don't think there's anything that we need to discuss in part 3. There was nothing there, so I will, once Mike's back, well, I guess I can actually sign this one, and I can leave it on his desk with the other one that I signed, so I will do that after the meeting. And if folks are okay with it, we can close the public hearing and move on, or public hearing, sorry, I always get that in the public comment period messed up. Close the public hearing and move on to the special permit approval. So I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing for special permit number 2023-4699.
So moved.
Motion by Lisa.
Second.
Second by Lorraine, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So everybody has in front of them the special permit resolution for this. So this is the Village of Lansing Village of Lansing Planning Board Resolution for special permit number 2023-4699, adopted on July 8th, 2024. Matter involves consideration of the following proposed action. I'm not going to read the whole thing again, but it is posting money in the proposal to build a house on the recently subdivided parcel from 42 SD Drive. On July 8th, today, the Village of Lansing Planning Board, in accordance with Article 8 of the New York State Environmental Conservation Law, found this to be a negative declaration when we reviewed the seeker. On August 14th, 2023, June 10th, 2024, June 25th, 2024, and July 8th, 2024, the Village of Lansing Planning Board opened and continued a public hearing regarding this proposed action and thoroughly reviewed all the documents. And we didn't get any feedback from, I remember talking to Mike about this, we didn't get any feedback from Tompkins County for the GML 239 L&M. So we have two options, now therefore be it resolved, we can grant, approve, or deny. We have the typical special conditions on the back. We did want to add one on the bottom. Yep, so we've got D, E, F, and G are the ones that are additional ones on there that we don't normally have. Right. And then so we want to add one for H called the applicant shall choose and implement at least 2 of the green design practices to the satisfaction and approval of the Village of Lansing engineer and Village of Lansing stormwater officer. So those are those green design standards that we discussed. I will entertain a motion to approve special permit number 2023-4699 with the special conditions as amended. Motion by Pat.
Second.
Second by Lorraine. All in favor?
Aye.
There you go, Nushin. I know it took a while, but hey, thanks. Good luck
Thank you
with the
so much,
project.
everyone. Thank you.
Good luck with the project, and Mike and Brent will,
Awesome. Thank you so much.
work out everything you need.
Perfect.
See ya. Make sure I keep all this together now.
Back to Bowman.
Yeah, so, Ben, did you all have a chance to update the elevation or the site plan to take that building off of there?
Yes, I'm just exporting it right now. So
Okay.
give me just 1 minute and we'll be able to look at it.
Sure.
Sorry about this, guys.
No, you're good.
Fine, working on the fly.
So while we were offline, we spoke to Abe and we said what we need him to do just to match our underwriting with the lender is he had to move we got rid of the fourth building, that fourth line, and we added a little bit to the building number 3, if you're counting top 1, 2, 3.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you need an extra minute, we can move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the trustee report. Who had the trustees? Jim?
I have the trustee report, and it's not going to be much of a report. For starters, I wasn't let in until 15 minutes into the meeting, so I don't know what went on. And at one point, they voted to have a public hearing, but I couldn't make on something, and I couldn't make out what it was, but it's going to be sent to the planning board. I think it was a solar law, but I'm guessing. And then after they went into executive session on a matter, so I had to leave. So I'm sorry, folks, but
I can update you on what you missed, Jim. So there's a
We're hoping for a longer.
There's a required update to chapter 80 of the illicit discharges. So I worked on that with Mike Scott. I sent the proposed law to the Board of Trustees. There's a lot of formatting issues with PDF and emailing of PDF and converting of Word to PDF. So I've reformatted it, sent it to them this afternoon. So they'll set a public hearing on that. I don't think they set a public hearing on the solar law because they wanted you to review it first and take a look at it. But I incorporated all their requested changes into a red line, and they approved the version that was emailed out to you guys, which we'll talk about after we get through the next applicant, because I don't want these guys to have to stick around for all that. And yeah, then we went into executive session.
Okay.
thank you, Natalie.
You're welcome, Sam.
I don't know why she didn't let me in, but yeah, I was kind of.
Some rousing debate about formatting errors, don't worry,
Oh.
you're too busy.
Oh, boy.
I thought maybe they'd move the executive session to the beginning, and that's what. So
No, just missed that you were waiting.
And I did, Abe, whenever you're ready, I did turn on screen sharing, so you can share that.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I will
Yeah,
ask
let's
your-
just do that so I don't have to, I'm ready now then, so I don't have
Okay,
to bother
yep, go ahead.
sharing it. Okay, just give me 1 second.
Look at the date.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Can you guys see this?
Yep, yeah, can you, yeah,
It's beautiful.
there you go.
Okay. So, like Ben said, essentially, we just got rid of this fourth building down here and increased the third one's depth to 40 feet from 30. The other two have remained the same. We also changed these drive lanes here to one-way, 20-foot wide drive lanes in order to
Oh, good
avoid
plan.
impeding upon this existing stormwater drain here. So that's the current plan.
Okay,
Looks good.
yeah. Any other comments from the board members? Okay, Abe,
Okay,
if you
so-
could, oh, go ahead, Lisa.
I do have a question, being very sensitive to changes and changes and changes with the previous development over, of course, 12 years. So you said this is the current plan, but you still have the intention to add another bay or another building or not?
As
Possibly.
of right now, this fits our pro forma.
Oh,
so-
okay, okay.
Okay, so anything
this
we
would-
decide to do, we understand. If we want to ask for a change, we understand we'll bring it to the planning board and ask for a change like anything else, but we don't have any plans at the moment to change. And yeah, obviously I'm gonna couch it by saying at the moment because, because
But yeah, any change, as, you know, it seems like they're aware that any change would have to come back to us, Lisa, and I think they will do that.
Yeah, so Abe, do you have Mike Scott's email address?
I believe I do.
Okay,
But
yeah.
if you want to read it out for me, just in case.
You know,
Oh, goodness, putting.
yeah, hang on a second, I got
Sorry.
Yeah,
Hold on, let me check my,
We just had to change our whole site plan for us, so we
Yeah,
can
that's
get
true.
an email.
So,
Okay.
code officer, the number 2, at vlansing.org.
okay, thank you.
And could you send it to me as well?
Of course.
And it's Baker, common spelling, M as in Michael, 82@gmail.com. And just make sure that the date's included on the, either in the file itself, preferably on whatever you export.
Of course.
Great.
Okay.
So we went through at the previous meeting, we went through the short EAF part 1 and 2. We did the seeker resolution for that already. I signed that, and it's actually on Mike's desk. He left me a copy to sign. So same as last, if people are comfortable, we can close the public hearing, and we do have a resolution in front of us. So I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing for special permit number 2024-4767. Motion by Lorraine. Second by Pat. All in favor? That was the wrong thing. That's okay, I can fix that.
I got it.
Okay, I'd like to have it on here. Okay. Abe, if you want to, you can stop sharing. I mean, I can turn it off, but I don't want to be rude. Okay, so, public hearing is closed, so everybody does have a resolution in front of them. This is the Village of Lansing Planning Board resolution for special permit number 2024-4767, adopted on July 8th, 2024. Whereas this matter involves consideration of the following proposed action, Ballman Capital Group is proposing to convert the existing Dix Alta DSW and Best Buy space into a Class A, fully climate-controlled self-service storage facility managed by CubeSmart. And B, on June 25th, 2024, Village of Lansing Planning Board, in accordance with Article 8 of the New York State Environmental Conservation Law, the seeker, and 6 NYCRR Section 617.5, and Section 123.2 of the Village of Lansing Code, and amended on environmental review and adopted a resolution for seeker review in connection with special permit number 2024-4767. And on May 28th, 2024, June 10th, 2024, June 25th, 2024, and July 8th, 2024, Village of Lansing Planning Board opened and continued a public hearing regarding this proposed action. Therein thoroughly reviewed and analyzed the materials and information presented by and on behalf of the applicant in support of this proposed action, including information and materials related to the environmental issues, if any, which the board deemed necessary or appropriate for its review. All other information and materials rightfully before the board, and all issues raised during the public hearing or otherwise raised in the course of the board's deliberations. Public hearing was closed on July 8th, not June 25th. July 8th, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved, again, we have two options. We can grant an approved special permit or deny it. We do have the general conditions on there, A through E, and we wanted to add F. Same as last time, applicant shall choose and implement at least 2 of the green design practices to the satisfaction and approval of the Village of Lansing engineer and Village of Lansing stormwater officer. I will entertain a motion to grant and approve special permit number 2024-4767. Motion by Pat,
Second.
second by Lorraine, Aditya, sorry. All in favor?
So fine.
Aye.
I just was gonna shake it up a little.
There you go. Thanks. Hey, Ben, there you go. You're all set.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank
Have
you
a great
very
evening.
much.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Yeah. I signed that for him. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is other business. I think the big item we have in front of us is to review the solar law draft changes made by the Board of Trustees. I know that those got sent out, I think, a couple weeks ago. Hopefully everybody had a chance to download them and take a look at them. A lot of what's in there is just, grammar and things like that, capitalization, non-capitalization. I think the big things in there that we had, after our joint meeting with the trustees, where we went over the draft that we had developed and provided, they had some questions about square footage, they had some questions about the decommissioning plan, there were some other questions on there. Most of those changes are in here. The one thing that I think everyone will notice, and Natalie told us about it, was that in the red line that they sent back, the decommissioning plan is struck out for tier 1 and the decommissioning plan is struck out for tier 2. So only tier 3 has a decommissioning plan.
However, there are other enforcement mechanisms for tier 1 and tier 2 should the property owner not comply with an order to remove or decommission their solar panels. It mirrors the other enforcement standards in the zoning code, almost to the letter, just to tailor it to this section.
I will just share for the record, and if this is not news to me, but I think that that's fine that it's mirroring the other enforcement methods that we have in the zone, but I feel that those enforcement methods are ineffective, and every time we sit here and ask Mike Scott, how can we do this, or how can we do that? We can't. We can do what the code says, which seems to not help when we need to go and enforce something. So that's my comment about decommissioning plans being, not necessarily out of tier 1, but definitely out of tier 2, them not being available as an enforcement option. I don't want to say it's a requirement, but as an option is how we had presented that back. Yeah, that's just my opinion.
I would like to also say that I would like the minutes to reflect that I too am not, I just don't feel that this is a wise decision. I think it puts the village in a tough spot going forward. I just don't think you can rely on people always to do the right thing, as we've discovered. And I just don't, I'm not understanding the rationale for making this decision. It just doesn't make sense. I understood that there was some resistance to having a bond posted or whatever, fine, but we don't have any leverage here. And I just think it's, I just take issue with this as well. And I hope that the minutes would reflect that for future people to look at this and say, why did they do this? That's how I feel about this. I feel really strongly about this particular thing.
Any other comments? Anything from you, Jim?
No, but I think Lisa has a valid point, but no, I have nothing to add.
Okay. Some of the other things that are in here, so in tier, at least is it in tier, which tier is this? That is tier 2. We did add in screening and visibility requirements. That was something that had gotten added in there. There were some questions about some of the things that were in there that had to do about, solar panels on pitched roofs and things like that. Some of that stuff was in there because it's part of fire code. Fire code is addressed elsewhere in this, so it doesn't have to be mentioned in there. And Mike's reviewed that, obviously, he's the expert on that here. So I think those were the the big ones there, in a couple sections, right, there were some comments about the tree law. We're working on that separately to address, that'll address some of the things that got updated in here. Anything I missed, Natalie? I think those are kind of the
They
big things.
added that ground mounted has to comply with the height limitations
Oh,
for
yes.
accessory buildings, so Carolyn didn't want anything too high off the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, those were the major changes.
I might draft a letter and/or attend the next Board of Trustees meeting before they set a public hearing or vote or both, and just share at least my comments and Lisa's comments. I'll send it to anybody if anybody wants to add anything or be included in that discussion. You're welcome to, you don't have to be. Yeah, so I'll send that up. I don't think that we, though, have to do anything with it. It's what they proposed back to us,
Yeah.
so.
No, we don't.
Other business. Lisa?
Well, I was thinking, I don't know whether we could take up, you know, you really raised the thing about the sidewalks. And I think maybe we could put that on as an agenda item, and we could, because the Board of Trustees will be doing changes to the code anyway, maybe it would be, with the solar law, maybe it would be a good time to see if we could make a quick change to that. I think that she made some good points, or I'm understanding what she's saying. You know, when we did the sidewalk law, it was kind of big deal at the time. And I think it's, you know, you can make some changes as you go along. You can't be too strong initially in some ways, but I think there are some things that probably, yeah, we shouldn't even bring up in the sidewalk law as possibly being not necessary if those things are present, and we can deal with those on one, you know, when people come to us as a board and just, you know, say, gee, there's not going to connect anything, and we can make a decision, but we don't need to put it in the code, for example. So I was just wondering whether we might be able to address that for one of our future meetings sort of soon.
Yeah, I don't know, with these things off the agenda, I know there's a couple other things that are kind of in the works we haven't finished up yet, but I'll ask Mike whenever we have a next slot on the on an agenda item. It might be at the next one, and if we can do it there, great.
And then I was also wondering, when Brent first started talking about this, I wasn't remembering the redevelopment standards, and I'm thinking, oh, I didn't remember what those were. And then you say the green design standards. Oh, now I get it. Should we be putting that automatically on as a condition now on our special permit resolutions?
Yeah. I think that, and I know we've had this discussion before, there's the standard ones that we always go through, great, they're gonna be on everything. I don't know if I remember a time that we've taken one of the standard ones off of there. Even if it didn't seem like it would apply, we left it on there anyway. And then there's these other ones that we talk about where maybe it's like seasonal or maybe it's this, but yeah, I think that, I don't know, I'll leave it up to everybody else, right? Should this just be one of our, you know, standard conditions, or is it one of the things that we should at least have on that gigantic long list of, you know, hey, we include these on there sometimes, that we should at least make sure that we review each time we grant a special permit?
Do we have such a list?
It exists in many people's heads, yes. Some of it is, and Mike has a lot of them. Some of them, though, are things we've discussed too, like the whole seasonal thing. We discussed if you're gonna do like plantings, it kind of depends on like, right, if we grant a special permit in, you know, February or something like that, it's different than if we grant one in maybe February or December, right? So maybe those are those kind of like seasonal ones where we want to say, we don't expect you to go and plant the tree now, but hey, you have to have it done by May 1st or something like that, right? At that sort of beginning of the planting season. That's the prime time to do it here. So, or maybe that shouldn't be seasonal. Maybe we should always say, hey, it's got to be done by, and we'll give you a certain amount of time, but.
I don't know, maybe put it on.
I think
maybe put
Dan
it on,
sort of.
and then depending, I mean, we just did two totally different things here, and it fell into both. So maybe put it on, and then and then remove it if it's not needed.
Yeah,
Brent, could you think of a time where you wouldn't want that included?
No, I think that would always, we've kind of had that unofficial request for ever since I can remember. So, yeah, I think that it would be fine to make it official.
Make a note to Mike.
I'll send Mike a note about, you know, adding it as just a general, or as a standard condition that we put on there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it struck me tonight when, like Lorraine said, these are we had a commercial and a residential, and in both cases, it applied. So I
Yep.
thought, okay, let's just not forget it going forward. It makes it easier if everybody knows from the outset what's required, kind of.
Yep. Perfect. That's two good ones. You got a third?
Oh, no. Are we expecting next meeting to be dealing with the outstanding special permit for Lansing Meadows? Is that?
Yeah, so will you be back in person, Lisa?
I will be back. Wouldn't miss it.
And will you be back in person, Jim?
I wouldn't miss it, and I changed an appointment to make sure I could be there.
There you go. Will you be here, Larry?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it looks like everyone will be here, so, right, there was a request and a discussion about making sure everybody was here when we did vote on that, so yes, we will plan on having that at the next meeting, since everyone will be here. Will you be here?
I will be
July
here.
30th.
Mike Scott will be here. I spoke to Attorney Messenger today and just let him know that Eric was not on the agenda for tonight, so.
He probably appreciated that.
Day off.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Lisa?
No, I'm good, thanks, I think.
We can come back. I always give people a final chance.
I was say, I'll speak up for him.
Jim?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Was there anything you wanted to mention, Brent, since you're here?
No,
Okay.
nothing new.
All right? Nope. Really? Natalie?
No.
That was a quick go around. Lisa, did you think anything?
I'm gonna say, gosh, one thing I had some tonight, huh?
Let me just pull up I have to go and find this.
We're not on for 3 weeks.
I know, right? Yeah, it's one of those odd months where there's some,
We had 3 weeks in between.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we'll forget everything.
July 30th. Good thing we did those 2 special permits.
That's right, boy.
Yeah, no, seriously, really, it's true.
Yeah.
You did
And
it.
then, so, Jim, you've got the next meeting in July too?
Yeah, I believe, I guess the trustee scheduled for what, a week from today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:04 PM.
So moved.
Motion by Lisa.
Second.
By Lorraine, all in favor?
Aye.
Well, thanks, everybody. Enjoy the next few weeks. Well, I'm sure there'll be some information coming up.
All night long. We were hearing that all night.
Night, Brent.
Yeah.
Night.
Good night, Susan.
Have a good one.
I kind of blocked it out after a while.
It was
But wait till
fairly
they get home, my
faint.
ear will be like.